Updated mixing technique, 5th of August 2024. My assistant, as of 2 weeks ago, is not clip gaining my individual channels. And that's because the whole premise of that was that it would feed my SSL channel strips and all my analog emulations with the right amount of gain, so it got the right amount of harmonics out of it. And I'm still using analog emulations here and there, but my whole mixing process from the setup isn't predicated on it anymore. And the reason being is because I'd have it all set up in clip gain like that. I'd have all my SSL channel strips, which I'd start to use mixing for because I like the SSL sound. And I did like it. I do like it. I like the idea of having that third order harmonic just subtly underneath and a little rollover in the low end. It keeps everything punchy, and the third order harmonics tend to warm up things and make things feel a bit more denser, especially when you've got this channel strip across everything. It's great. It feels good. But it feels good in the same sense it also limits your flexibility in mixing because automatically you've placed a set of parameters within to work in. Okay, so you can only drive this as so hot, okay, before it starts to get a bit yucky. And you'll always have that little roll off in the subs and you'll always have those harmonics present. And and this has happened on multiple mixes, when those harmonics and when the character and tone of this channel strip doesn't work in the interest of the mix, it's caused me headaches because I'm fighting against a sound I've embedded into the mix, which the client has heard and they like the mix. They might have a few notes, a few tonal things they want to vary or change. And I have to fight against the whole infrastructure of the mix, the whole foundation of the mix in order to achieve certain things they might be asking. And that's happened where I'm like, why the hell am I mixing like this? I don't like it. I like it, but then it's causing some situations where I don't like it because I have to really fight hard to get certain notes achieved because I've embedded this analog sound or even other analog sounds just by default of processing and working into my mix. So now what I'm doing is I'm having my assistant not clip gain anything. So that way I'm not committing any analog processors or SSL channel strips into my process. It's forcing me to listen to the production free of what my biases and confirmation bias is to the plugins and my plugin choice. So that way I'm listening and I'm engaging and I'm going, ooh, there's already a nice richness to that bass. I don't need to saturate it anymore. Or, ooh, there's not a lot of aggression on those snares. They're a bit one-dimensional. I might reach for an analog emulation. I might reach for a decapitator in parallel to give it some grit or some edge. But it's allowed me to make those decisions based on the content material, not based on the parameters or the box I squeeze myself into because I say, hey, I've gain stage for analog. I'm going to use these analog emulations because that's the sound I know. You know, that sort of puts you in a funnel, and I want to be expansive in my thoughts when I'm mixing. The next thing is when it comes to the digital realm, you might probably thinking, well, gain staging is important. Well, of course it's important, but in the digital realm, we have so much headroom. Okay, we've got a floating point headroom where we can just keep going up and up and up. And how do I mitigate that? Well, I've got this VCA all fade. I've got these VCA faders. This VCA all fader will actually, if I just pull it across to here, okay, I can pull down all my channels. Okay, I can pull down all my channels equally across the whole mix. So I'm not concerned about like gain staging because if I know I'm hitting my mix bus too hot and it's going to start clipping on the output, I've got that fader there which I can just bring down and I'm good. So anyway, that's my update at the moment. It's not like super techy and deep divey, but it's just something I've been doing and something I've been thinking about because the whole like sort of analog sound debate in YouTube is becoming a big thing where, oh, is it a scam or not? And it's sort of like, well, no, it's not. It's definitely not a scam because the developers are putting in good effort and there's a good reason why some of these plugins and some of these technologies and some of these concepts, I don't even look at it as a hardware unit or an analog unit. I look at it as a concept of processing audio, which is just being adapted digitally. Look at my deep dive on the Aphex Aural Exciter, where I went through the pattern to understand how they actually manage the signal flow in order to create those effects. You look at it and you go, well, no, it's not something that just because you can plot on a graph and emulate one-to-one with differences, mind you, like they don't null 100%, that that's an accurate representation of that processor and the way it will always work. Because you got to remember, when you push and pull different parameters, they interact in not one-to-one ways. It's not predictable in that sense, in the sense that they might have parabolic relationships or exponential relationships or relationships that are inverse of one another in terms of the harmonics and the way they push and pull between each other. And that is always unique and different to the signal processing structure or the topology of those processing signal designs. So it's not to say analog is no more. It's just to say that I'm not dictating my whole process based on it when it comes into the digital domain, because I want to listen to the music first and then decide on the processes later. I hope that helps you out. And until next time, take care.